that too.
Good morning.
Oh,
Good morning.
sorry about that. Yes.
Last one, see if you can hear my voice. Last one, see if you can hear my voice. Yes. Good morning, guys. Fellow Toastmasters, I call this meeting of Lake Mary Toastmaster Club 6440 to order. Before we proceed with the meeting, please silence your cell phones. I would like to ask everyone to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Thank you.
Who's the time?
Our club mission is to provide a supportive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. And with that said, please help me welcome our Toastmaster this morning, Diane M.
First, I think we have an order of business because Mike isn't here to be timer. Is there anybody who could volunteer to be timer?
If I get a phone, I can do both, it's no problem.
Wow.
James doing that?
Multitasking.
James?
James.
I don't have to. You see how I throw my voice in?
Thank you, James.
And
And also, a couple of corrections to our paper. I was going by the Easy Speak amount of time for Stephen's speech, but it's only going to be 5 to 7 minutes, James, so that you'll know that, instead of 15 to 20. So we're going to have a little extra time. More time for table topics, more time for random acts of kindness. Today's theme of the day is random acts of kindness, and I picked that because I thought it's a good thing to be able to do something nice for somebody else. And too many times we are in our own little world, sitting behind a computer, in our house, and everything is about us, us, us. And we're looking at the computer and wondering, what can we do for ourselves today? So I decided that it's time to think about other people. And I've had recent occurrences where I've helped some people, and I know, and I've asked them to pay it forward. And I know that they will because they were really in need. So for random acts of kindness, it's easy to do. It could be something as simple as just writing a little inspirational note to somebody, just to make them feel better, giving them a compliment, or it could be leaving money in a parking meter for somebody. You can even leave a little note and say, this is a random act of kindness. Pay it forward someday, or have a nice day. You could pay the toll for the person behind you. I've had somebody do that to me actually a long time ago, and it was just such a nice thing, and I have done it for other people simply because somebody did that for me. Possibly you're in line and you're in Starbucks or whatever, and you just say, you know what, somebody's having a bad day, I'm going to pay for their coffee. Have a great day. You know, someday maybe you'll do the same. It just is something that will pass it on. There was a movie a long time ago called Pay It Forward, and it was based on a true story of a little boy in, I believe in Australia, it could have been the UK, I don't remember. But he had a science project to do, and he decided to do 3 random acts of kindness. And it was an entire story that led to a whole lot of good things, but really the whole idea of it was to pay it forward. And you would do something for somebody, and then ask them, okay, I'd like you to just pay it forward to somebody else when somebody else is in need. So on the back of our agendas today, of course I like to do this, I put a couple of websites or ideas for random acts of kindness that you might be able to do, a couple websites, and I also did my own list based on a whole bunch of different sources. They may be on these websites too. but I just did a list of just things that you could do. You know, some people go pretty far out, like they even maybe donate a kidney to somebody who needs a kidney. And that's just a random act of kindness, and you just say, you know what, it's just, I want to do something good. Now, there's some research that I found that if you do one random act of kindness a day, that your happiness and your life perspective increases exponentially. So never underestimate the impact of a single act of kindness. It's really a win-win situation. The person you are being kind to benefits through your help. You feel good for having helped someone, and the world is a better place through your kindness. Lucky people out there have discovered that the happiness brought to them by helping others was only a good thing for their lives. If everyone made a conscious effort to get out of the comfort zone and do 3 good deeds for others, passing it on and pay it forward as they go, then the ongoing ripple effect can make a huge positive difference to society. And my last thought on this is smile. I remember when I used to walk in my old neighborhood every day, I would walk back and forth up the road. It was a mile road. And I would wave to somebody and smile at every single car that went by. And one day I was at a yard sale in my neighborhood, and somebody said to me, "Oh, you're the person who waves and smiles every day to me." And I said, "Yeah, that's me." And he said, "You know, I was having a really bad day one day. I was in just really bad despair." And he said, "And I came down the street and I saw you and you waved to me and it made my day better. And I got through the day because of that simple wave and that smile." So it's just a simple little thing like that. You know, I just was doing it just because it makes me feel good, but it also helped somebody. And you never know who you're going to help by doing something so simple. Okay, today we have our first, we have to introduce our technical table. First, our grammarian, Erica Benfield.
Woo, Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The word of the day is betterment. The act of process or improving something. I found that word very fitting with our topic or theme being self-improvement. The function of the grammarian is to make note of improper or proper use of the English language. Today, I will be on the lookout for those, and I look forward to giving you my report at the end of this meeting.
Our counter is Ernst U.
Good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow members. Talking about the random act of kindness. Ariel was so kind to fill in the name on my R-counter sheet this morning, which is very nice. Thank you very much, Ariel. And of course, for the betterment of everybody's vocal skills, I'm here to make sure that you are speaking correctly. And the purpose of the R-counter is to note words and sounds used as a crutch or pregnant pause by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Words may be inappropriate interjections such as, and, well, but, so, you know. Sounds may be R. I will also be listening to double clutches such as I. This means, this means, this means. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Ernst. And finally, our timer is Mike Hughes.
Traffic. Anyway, during speech, timer will operate the time stopwatch, and there are signaling devices: red, yellow, and green. Table topics. Persons called on to speak will give it 1 minute. Green light will be 30 seconds. Lapse in time, 45 seconds for yellow, and then once you see red, stop what you're doing. And what else is there? I think that pretty much concludes everything. Is that?
Short and sweet.
All right, we got it.
Short and sweet, let's get to the point.
Before I introduce our first speaker, we have a couple of guests, and they may not understand what it is he's going to speak about. We have a new program that we're using for Toastmasters to communicate, and it's called Easy Speak. So today, Stephen is going to talk to us about Easy Speak for the betterment of our organization. As VP of Education, Stephen is responsible for scheduling us for roles at each of our meetings. True to form, he is changing things up again by using the Easy Speak website. Although this presents challenges, Stephen believes the benefits we all gain from using Easy Speak will be worth the effort. Here today to show us the basics of the website, please welcome Advanced Toastmaster Gold, Stephen Morgan. Oh, take this. Okay.
I need a place. I need to be able to get to everything. Thank you. Since the important part here is for everyone to understand how we're doing what we're doing. Going to be emphasizing what you can see, which is going to be our website up here. Now, Easy Speak is going to take the place of what we've been doing with Club Scheduler. That was sitting on our VP Ed's computer for the past several years, but no one else could get a hold of it, and there was a couple of times that ran the problem, VP Ed's not present, can't get to the information, or even better, computer crashes, we lost information. The idea of moving to Easy Speak, which my other club is doing, is to provide a place where everyone can get to at any time. And you will have the ability to have other people to help manage even when the VP Ed can't do so. I'm going to be logging in through my wife's account. She is a member of a different club. The main reason being that if I log into my account, we're going to see things that, as being an administrator, would look different. And we want to see what everyone in general is going to be seeing. So, using hers, uh-oh, gotta get her password. She gave it to me. Ours is, of course, going to be saying Lake Mary Toastmasters, but what we have here, as a member of the one club, that facilitators, okay, let's see. This is what it will be looking like when you log in. You're going to see something that looks essentially like this. The key part is going to be what advantages are you going to be getting. The advantage that you're going to be getting is to have a visibility into your own access and to make your own requests. The key part that you would be looking for under meetings, you'll notice that when you go under meetings, you're going to see it listed, the very next meeting of the club is shown there. So on our particular one being that Wednesday evening, then you go to that meeting, you're going to see the agenda as listed for this particular meeting, including everyone who's planning on coming or not. Since this is my wife's account, she's listed first under the attendance. Come here and say, are you going to attend or not? In fact, it's actually showing up at the top. You can give a thumbs up, thumbs down. Am I going to be attending or am I not? Otherwise listed are the roles for that particular meeting and who's taking on these different roles. Her role for the meeting at the moment is scheduled as a counter, and since it is her role, she also can come here and confirm or decline. With those choices, except for her. By doing that, it also says she is attending. Now, as the Toastmaster, when you come in here, you will be able to see all this information when you're the Toastmaster. You will also have the ability to change the agenda. The Toastmaster has that opportunity. The fun part going to be, how are you going to get a hold of people when you are trying to find someone? Whether you are Toastmaster or not, you come in here, you can see everyone who happens to be listed. What you can do is on any particular person's name, like mine there, you click it, and it pops up way over to the side over here.
It's on the wall.
Yeah, it's on the
Everyone
wall
see
to
it's
the
on the
side.
wall.
And my phone number pops up. Can I get that to move over? No.
Yeah.
Cursor's moving, you could click on it.
Yeah. What it shows is my phone numbers show up on there and a link to email. If you click on the email link, then it pops up a screen where you can send the email. It doesn't actually tell you my email address. When you put in this message, it will go to my email address. It will say it's coming from your email address. If I respond, it'll go back to you. So if you ever needed to reach anybody that way, it shows up there. Those are the easy ways to get around. Now, if you want to go planning for the next meeting, you want to figure out, I want to plan ahead and decide I'm going to take on some roles for the next meeting. If you go to a future meeting, you can go forward and backward up here and review past meetings as well. What you'll see is some things have already been assigned, in this case the speakers, but none of the other roles for the meeting have yet been assigned. Which one do you want? Come in here, click on it. So you can plan your own roles going further out into the future. Which roles you want to take on for each meeting. For a speech, you're planning, the idea here is you're planning your speeches out. However, if you don't, you'll probably be assigned one you'll have to, by the VP Education, and have to figure out what you're doing then. When you go to request a speech, on the left side you can click on the request a speech. What pops up? Simple box that's going to tell you, what's my title going to be? Put in your title. Then you can, and your introduction, the Toastmaster can then use it. Then you choose which manual you're working from, which project you're working on. So you can choose, most of you will probably be working on the Conflict Communication Manual, and you'll know which project you're doing next. You'll just click that particular one, and when you say save, then what happens is the request goes to the VP Education. You can also request a specific date on the third column. Which week do you want to do it? And which speaker do you want to be that week? It assumes 3. When you make those requests, the VP Ed gets it. Then when he'll come in and actually go through and assign the speakers for the meetings that go forward. For your own progress, you can actually click on the View My Speech Progress and take a look at what have you done so far. It does keep track of what you've been doing, and you can click on those particular, you can check back to those particular meetings if you want and see what happened then. If I go back to that meeting, I can see, oh look, here's that meeting, there's my speech. And then you now have the title and the project you were working on, which will be helpful when you go to submit your awards. The whole information is being kept in history for us here. What this does, in particular, means that when you guys want to find out the information, you want to see what schedule is going on, you can go to the website, log in on your own. You all, the members, have accounts. A couple of the new members need to get it set up. If you don't know your password, just let me know and I'll have it send you another one or send you an email to create the next one. And then you'll be able to come in whatever time. If it's 3 in the morning and you're trying to figure it out, you can go in. You don't have to wonder whether you're waking somebody up. You come into the website, take a look and see where you are, what's going on, and what's coming in the future, and plan ahead. The agendas will change. In fact, next week's agenda is going to be different since we're doing a different meeting from the norm, and in 3 weeks we'll be doing the contest, and that meeting is completely different. The agendas do adjust, and that's part of what I've been doing is getting those put together. If you have questions, ask, because the whole point is to get everyone into this place. And if you really have problems, I always have the backup. I have a paper come around with the list of things, and you can write your name on it. I'll take the paper up at the end and make the changes as needed. You can email me with any changes or call, whatever works. I want to make sure everyone's getting the best they can out of it. And since my time has run low, I shall let it pass, and you can certainly ask the questions more later. But thank you for the time.
Stephen, excellent speech, and I hope we all derived a lot from that. Now we have our second speaker. Oh, I'm sorry, we need 1 minute for evaluations. Please put 1 minute on the clock. Thank you, Mike. Okay, our 1 minute is up. When you're finished with your evaluations, just fold them and pass them to Stephen, please. Okay, our next speaker is Suzanna Letchford. Suzanna will be presenting an abbreviated form of Evaluate to Motivate from the Successful Club Series. The Successful Club Series is an educational series created by Toastmasters in order to enrich club and member experience. Please welcome Suzanna Letchford.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, I realized this morning, 4 years ago, almost to the day, is the first time I did this presentation. It still completely applies because for me, as a Toastmaster, the evaluations are the most important part of each meeting. They're what help me grow, and they're what help me, just by giving an evaluation, to analyze a speech and figure out what parts of it work really, really well that I might want to incorporate into my own speaking, and which parts I might want to watch out for in my own speaking. So being the evaluator and the evaluatee are, for me, the most important part of Toastmasters, which is why I've continued Toastmasters for as long as I have. Not as long as Stephen has. This morning I'm doing an abbreviated version of the Evaluate to Motivate speaker series, or presentation from the speaker series. If you don't know the Successful Club series, this is something that Toastmasters puts together that you can order from the website. They might even have them free now. Okay, they can download it free. Times have changed. From the website, and present this as one of your speeches. It's actually a requirement, and I think maybe a leadership manual or a speech manual somewhere. You will eventually have to do one of these, and they help the club. So I encourage everybody to not only look through the evaluation one, but look through every single one of the Successful Club and Successful Leadership speeches. As far as evaluations go, there are a couple of things that make a very good evaluation. An evaluation is a speech of its own. It should have an introduction, and it should have a conclusion. The difference between an evaluation and a regular speech, aside from the fact that you're giving feedback, is also you're not going to make it about you. You don't want to go overboard with body language. You don't want to draw all of the attention to you. The attention should be on the person that you're evaluating. You also want to make sure to give feedback that is constructive. A nice evaluation telling them that they were fantastic is sweet. It does nobody any good to only get that, though. Always find at least one thing, no matter how small it is. If you can't think of anything, ask somebody sitting next to you, what do you think? Find something that they can grow from to help yourself, help the club, and help that speaker. That's one of my big pet peeves. Don't just say everything's good, because everybody can improve on something. The way you say it is also important, because as an evaluator, you're giving your own opinion. You won't want to say phrases like you should have, or that was wrong because. It's great to start phrases with, I felt that, I saw that, I think that. If you start with I words, that encourages that it's your opinion and not the group as a whole. So it takes a little bit of the pressure off of the person receiving the feedback as well. You also want to focus on the speaking skills. Don't focus on the content unless it was organizing the speech and then organizing the content. Don't focus on the subject itself. And don't focus on who the person is. If you don't like that person's personality, that's not important. How do they speak? What speaking skills do they have that they are good at? What could they improve on? Those are the things that you're looking at. And we talked about the cookie approach, the Oreo cookie approach. What this means, you put positive at the beginning, you put the constructive feedback in the middle, and then you end with a positive. So that way they are encouraged. The point is to encourage them to grow and do more speeches. Never tear anybody down, but this cookie approach works very well to leave them on a positive note. And the way I generally do my own notes for an evaluation, I start with 1 to 2 positives and not the best positive. I start with maybe some of the medium positives. Then I give my feedback. I try to give at least 2 feedback points preferably 3, depending on how long I have to speak about them. But then that last thing I say is going to be their strongest point. It's going to be what made them the most fantastic speaker that they can possibly be, and encourages them to move on and keep that skill. So end on that high note. And I love using that best positive for last. Toastmasters has a million resources on their website. Just search for evaluations and you will find so many different manuals, little workbooks, you'll find articles, the Sun Talker magazine talks about it. Look up on the Toastmasters website, ask your mentor to assist you if you're feeling like you're not as strong at evaluations. Evaluations are a skill of their own, and they're something that you will use in the workforce, you'll use with your family, you'll use just on the street sometimes. It helps to really use the cookie approach when you're speaking to that store manager who's really obnoxious. These are great things to know. Study up on some additional resources, and also don't forget your written evaluations. There are too many meetings that I feel not enough people are filling these out. The verbal evaluation is one person's opinion. Everybody's opinion can help somebody grow. So if you're not filling one of these out, you're ripping someone off. They're not getting all of the education that they can be getting. And if you're only saying great job, you're not helping them. End with great job. But feedback on here too. At least one point that they can improve on your written evaluations as well. Like I said, I love evaluations. They're my favorite part of Toastmasters. I love receiving them because I like to learn how I can grow. And I love to give them because that is the most active listening I do in my day generally. That is the most analysis I do of another speaker. I learn so much from watching others, so I encourage everybody to really embrace the evaluation portion of Toastmasters and step up the game a little bit more, not only for you, but for all of your members. Thank you.
And now if we could have 1 minute on the clock, please, Mike, to complete our evaluations. And everybody needs to pass one on to Suzanna. Okay, thank you, everybody. Please pass them down. And if you'll note on the agenda, except for on Suzanna's, but on all of the speeches, we have objectives. So that could help you possibly with the evaluation. If you see the objectives that are their personal objectives for that speech. Our final speaker states that she is glad to have gone to New York City public schools at a time when a quality education was received. It was there that she first learned the verses she will now do for us. Help me welcome distinguished Toastmaster Stephany Bonnie Byrne as she recites excerpts of the poem Harriet Tubman. Now we have a minute on the clock. I don't know if you have a minute. You need more than that to evaluate that. That was excellent. Okay, thank you, everyone. If you'll pass your evaluations down, I'd appreciate it. Now, fellow Toastmasters and guests, our next portion is our table topics portion. And for those of you who haven't been here and who don't know what that is, we have our table topics master that comes up and she's going to ask random questions and put everybody on the spot. So they're going to be able to stand up and speak about whatever the question is, and don't forget to use the word of the day, betterment. Our table topics master today is Kerri Bird. If you'd please welcome her.
As Diane has already set everything up, I will just go right ahead into the questions. First question, what random act of kindness have you seen but not been a part of as either a recipient or the giver? James.
Oh, how I knew this was coming. You know, wear bright shoes like this and then expect to get picked up. Random act of kindness that I've seen but not been a part of. I have seen someone in Starbucks buy the person behind their coffee, but I've actually never done that. That's actually been one of the things I just don't know how you logistically do that when you don't know what they're ordering. So, yeah, that's the only thing I've ever seen and not done. Okay. You want to go right now? Yeah, we go.
Have you been the recipient of a random act of kindness? Gus.
Just this moment, I think that was a random act of kindness to call upon me. Yes. I think I've seen that many times with my daughters. They know I like to listen to music. So sometimes they will just get me these headsets that I really like, noise cancelling one. That was one I noticed they did it for me, but also I've noticed they've been doing it for some of their other friends, and which I really appreciate. The random acts of kindness, which is a betterment for everyone that they meet along the way.
Have you been the giver of a random act of kindness for the betterment of someone else? Ernst.
Have I been the giver of a random act of violence?
You can answer that one too.
I've been the giver of a random act of violence, but also the giver of kindness. Madam Table Topic Master, you know, it breaks my heart to drive around this country and see people sitting on the street and begging for money. I just sometimes wonder how that comes about, and I just cannot understand, especially young kids, 20 years old or 19. But about a month or 2 months ago, I drove I drove out of Home Depot, and there was this guy standing begging for money, and it was raining. And what I did, I stopped, I gave him my umbrella and $10.
Oh, wow.
That's all I could do, but that's how I was a part of a random act of kindness.
We have a little more time, so I think I'll just continue a little bit more about our random act of kindness. I have noticed a lot of the people that Ernst was talking about, and I've been asked by people at 7-Elevens or people that need gas for money, and I've gone and I've gotten them food and brought it back to them. However, I did notice when I was looking through different things that you could do, that you could just buy some gift certificates from a food place, and you can just hand them the gift certificates somewhere right in that area so that they can go and they can get food themselves. You don't have to run away, and you don't have to give them money. Sometimes if you do give them money or you put gas in their cars because there's a stranded motorist somewhere, you ask them to pay it forward. You don't know if they're really telling you the truth or not. You have to just know that you did the right thing, and if you could pay for their gas with a credit card, that'll make you feel better. Whatever you have to do your random act of kindness and to make you feel good, go ahead and do it. Just make sure that you try to do one a day, because it'll improve everybody's happiness, and you'll be more fulfilled in your life. Now, our next person is our general evaluator, who will be coming up to evaluate our whole entire meeting and also introduce our evaluators for each of the speeches. Please welcome Gus D.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, this is the educational portion of our meeting. At this point in the meeting, we're going to have people come up and evaluate the speakers we heard who spoke today, and they will actually follow the speech that Suzanna gave us. We'll see how do we use the cookie approach. And after that evaluation, there will be comments about the meeting, and we have the report from the technical table. I will also present that. We go in the order in which the speakers were presented. The first speaker we had this morning was Stephen Morgan, and we're going to have Martin Bell will now come up, and he has the awesome task of evaluating Stephen, which will be the betterment probably for himself, or Stephen, we'll find that out. Please welcome.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. This is my first evaluation, and yes, I'm a little bit nervous. So the purpose of Stephen's project was to prepare and deliver a 15 to 20 minute sales training presentation in 6 to 8 minutes. Stephen, you did it. Great job. A few of the objectives were to tell the audience how to use a product by using a planned presentation, inform about the experience of that product. Another objective was to use entertaining stories and examples, and then to inspire us in the actual use of the product. I found myself taking notes throughout the presentation. I feel Stephen accomplished all of those objectives. A couple of things, and I'm going to take Suzanna's advice here. I thought that, or I feel that. In terms of perhaps thinking of future presentations, is to perhaps engage the audience by having them or asking them to log in at EasySpeak as you're giving the presentation, maybe having everyone's passwords available so we can go into our phones and kind of play around as you're actually using EasySpeak. And then perhaps to leave a little bit of time for questions. We've had in previous meetings some discussions about the issues, logging in or whatnot. It might have helped to just take a moment and answer those questions on the spot. But in terms of accomplishing the objectives, I ask everybody to ask themselves, did you benefit from hearing Stephen's speech? And did Stephen inspire you to go out and use EasySpeak? I know for myself, I can answer a definite yes to both of those, and I think that was very well done. So great job, Steve.
Great learning moment when you hear someone evaluate, even when it's your first time. I feel you were able to express yourself clearly to Steve. Our second evaluator for today is the one that will be evaluating Suzanna Lecture. So we're going to see how our evaluator for her will be Julia Kaufman, how she's going to put into practice just what Suzanna told. Let's welcome to this.
Toastmasters and guests, and especially Suzanna. Wow, evaluating someone giving an evaluation is a little tough, but actually not tough at all because of you being up here and presenting it to us. You gave a wonderful speech from our successful series on how to evaluate, which everyone can use and apply when they get up here and evaluate. It's very intimidating, especially when it's your first time to get up here and evaluate someone. But as you mentioned, it's the most valuable because that's what we're here. We're here to understand how we look in front of an audience from every person's perspective and get that feedback to help us grow. You got up here, what I particularly love about any time you get up here and present is your enthusiasm, especially your eye contact. I have never seen one give the better eye contact than you, Suzanna. You get up here and you really connect. You brought us all in. I stopped from writing down, and when you looked at me and you kept looking, and you kept me engaged, because every time I wanted to jot notes, I saw you look at me and you're like, you demanded that I look up and watch you. And that's impressive. And you've got beautiful eyes, so use that. I mean, that's your best asset. The other part that I liked about your speech is how you personalized it. You got up and spoke about 4 years ago, you gave your evaluation speech, and you're doing it again, and it's the same principle on how to really effectively give a good evaluation. And then you went through the process, you referred to your notes, which I found a little distracting because it stopped your flow. You have such a great flow, so if you can nail your presentation again, which you'll give maybe 4 years from now, but nail that presentation without needing the notes, that will keep your flow moving and keep us further engaged. I felt like I could, every time you referred to your notes, I was jotting my notes down, so that kind of engaged. And in your evaluation guide, it asked me for a few things on what you can do to further develop that particular presentation again. Just keep giving them, because you really nailed on the principles of what a proper evaluation is. And what I really liked about your speech, because it's a pet peeve of mine, is these informal evaluations when I only get 1 or 2. I value everybody's opinion, because that summary of everybody's opinion will really give you an understanding of the speech and what they liked and what you could do to improve it. So I love that point that you presented. Anyways, great job, and can't wait to hear your next one. Thank you.
A great learning moment here for the betterment of all of us here, as this is the section of our speech. Continuing from that, we'll have the next evaluator will be Alexandra Balder. She'll be evaluating the reader this morning of the poem. She'll be evaluating Stephany Band. Let's welcome Alexandra.
Fellow Toastmasters, and especially Stephany. Thank you, what an honor, seriously. Evaluating Stephany is a very difficult task, as everybody knows here. She's going to be evaluated today on project number 2, Interpreting Poetry from the Interpretive Reading. And I want to say, Stephany, using Suzanne's technique, I have it in my mind, I strongly believe that you took advantage of your natural presence. You're a strong woman, and don't say no, you are. And you injected into your interpretation. I like the fact that, you know, all that body energy and your voice, you literally injected into your interpretation. I got goosebumps in the back. And I like the fact that you were here in the middle, and it was amazing. You draw me into what you were saying. It was so colorful, every single word. What I felt that you could probably use to betterment future speeches, you could use more pauses, Stephany. The message was so strong and colorful. I was there and I wish it like probably you pause it probably after the title. I wanted to see a pause, and especially when you finish. You finish, and I wanted to still be there, but it was draw back to the Toastmaster. Besides that, Stephany, I said it again, great energy, great emotions, full of body language. Your vocal variety was amazing. And besides anything, what I love the most is your imagination. It was so put it into the interpretation. Thank you.
Evaluating the big three, I cannot imagine that. You know, all the evaluators did a great job. It's not easy. Martin and also Julia, a professional there, and you were able to do this together. And thank you, Alexandra, there for the evaluation. I think we're always learning things as we go along. At this point, before my general comments at the meeting, I would like to get the report from our technical table. And for those who are visiting, the technical table will give a report on the different aspects of the timing, the grammar, and the R counter. And I think if I know right well, I can be corrected. I start with the timer. Timer.
All right, we did very well today. Steve, you're the only one that went over, but your content, I mean, yeah, you were, what, 15 minutes, and you were at 7:52, so outstanding. Stephany, 4:35, under, but outstanding job. And Suzanna, 6:39, great job. Martin, 2:04, right on the money. Julia, 2:47, and Alexandra, 2:02, everyone's right on time. And table topics, we had James, 27 seconds, Gus, 39 seconds, and Ernst, 1:04. So that's my report.
Thank you. And we'll move on to our grammarian for this morning, and that would be Erica.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and for the betterment of our club funds, we made some money today. Those that use the word of the day that I heard, because we had 3 fantastic speakers, was Diane, Stephen, I believe you used it, or did I hear that in my mind, because you usually do. Oh my goodness, I gave him a check.
Scratch him off.
I heard Gus use it, I heard Alexandra use it, I heard Ernst use it. Did I miss anyone else? Kerri used it.
No, I had it written
Okay,
down actually.
so what that means is that for those guests visiting today, if you did not use the word of the day, you have to pay 25 cents. I did not remind you at the beginning because only those that are members and have given their first speech can pay that 25 cents, so they should know better. Proper or improper use of the English language that I heard today was Stephen, you all, the members, have accounts. Suzanna, evaluation is a speech of its own. Stephany, I am Harriet Tubman. And I put that in there because we've heard all different interpretations of my name is, a lot of people use and she said I am, and that really gave the perfect emphasis to the end of her speech, but that's something else. Then we have James, seen, not done. That's exactly how you said it. I've seen, but not done.
I think I was like a colloquialism speech.
Martin, I particularly like that you use the word objectives. A few of the objectives, and then you continued by saying, and I think that the word objectives is something that I use regularly. What's my mission? What's my goal? And you use that word, and I love that. Julia Kaufman. I'm not sure if it was my ears from all the swimming this weekend, but that's your best, did you say asset or aspect? You went right through it, so it drew my attention because she was talking about Susanna's eyes. Alexandra, you injected into your presentation. Thought that was very clever. You also said, what I loved the most was your imagination. Then my favorite, Ernst. Give her a random act of violence.
Thank you, Erica. And now we hear from Ernst, who was our R counter for this morning.
Mr. General Evaluator, Madam Toastmasters, fellow members, for the betterment of our speaking skills and not for criticism. The all-counters responsibility is very important. As we were going along, I had a clean sheet and I thought we'd be totally white in here, but as we were going along, things became interesting. Starting with Diane, who is greatly improved. She only has 2 R's and 2 so's. Alexandra, she had a tough evaluation. I'm glad I didn't have to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, about 7 R's, 1 but and 2 ands, and a little tongue click I heard there in between. For myself, so far I had 2 R's, maybe 3. Suzanna, great job. It was 3 so's. Gus, 1 R and 2 N's. Martin, you won the World Cup. And about 12 R's, a couple of N's, and 1 so.
Jeremy.
Julia,
I didn't do much better.
2 R's, and James had 1 And that's my report, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much. At this point, I want to give some general comments on the meeting today. The room setup was well done, and we want to thank our Sergeant at Arms. And also, I appreciate they have placed the screen here on time and really angled it very well with the room. That was well done, and it was a good, smooth transition. One of the things we need to be aware of in the meeting is to really watch the timing. For the Toastmaster, if you have your comments at the beginning, just watch the clock if it doesn't fall down. You know, it's like the pilot of the
I'm gonna use
plane.
duct tape one day.
Yes, it's like the pilot of the plane. You can ramp up your comment, especially when you have it suggested in the back. But you want to quickly get to the introduction of the theme for the morning, introduce your technical table, and move on to your first speaker. In between the table topics, you can always bridge any comments that you may have well prepared. But in the beginning, just set up the theme for the morning and the brief comments, and then you move on to the speakers. The speakers, thank you very much. They were well adjusted to the timing. I think that was where we gained our time. We made it up quickly on that. Thank you so much for everyone for coming. Our guests were here on time. At this point, I will turn it over to the president of our club, Erica Benford.
Thank you, Gus. I found it very fitting that the topic today was random acts of kindness, because initially I joined this club as a random act of kindness to help the local high school. Here I am 18 months later. So you just never know what a random act of kindness will lead you when you're trying to help others. Let's get to business. I have a printed version, thanks to the attendance of our support. I did try unsuccessfully to pull it on my phone last week. Just want to let you know that, the only way to get better at it is to use it. And as Steven said, you all have an account. You members have all have an account. If you don't feel comfortable, as he's here, he will print this little schedule. It only made it to me today, but you can fill it out and just say I'm going if your life is too hectic or emails get lost. The best way to confirm your role is to be here. If you're here every week, then we all have effective communication, and that's a start. I also want to just point out that on August 5th, we have Stephen Morgan as our Toastmaster. Speaker, Ernst, number 1. Diane, number 2. We just love hearing your voice. Alexandra, get them out of the way. Alexandra, speaker 3. Table Topics Master, Paul. He's not here today.
Next week, right? I think it's supposed to be.
Stephany is the General Evaluator. Evaluator, Mike Hughes. Myself, I'm the second evaluator. I will be here. Julia Kaufman is the third evaluator. I'll counter James Bishop. Yeah. Pat Patain. Pat is not here, so I probably will need a person for the role of grammarian. Any volunteers? Alexandra, thank you.
Martin. He's volunteering.
Okay. Well, Martin, I gotta tell you, that was your first evaluation, and now you're gonna be a grammarian, so. You can't make it? Okay, he just checked his schedule. He was voluntold unsuccessfully. Timer, Jorge Friegels.
I just want to say one thing. I did email Pat yesterday. I just took it upon myself because I hadn't seen her. I haven't gotten a response back, so maybe she'll come next week.
I think with the new grandbaby and stuff, she got a little distracted. So for the meantime, as the role of Toastmaster, I'm gonna suggest for you to find someone in its place. Today I want to point out that I hand wrote the word of the day and for grammarian, here we go with whoever gets that role. Let's try to make sure we have that printed because I'm guilty of that. Maybe I could have reached out more and had it printed, but as a backup, I wasn't sure which word she was going to print on the agenda. So bring a white piece of paper, whatever works, as long as people can see it, I can read it, it's totally fine.
Erica? So the role of grammarian is to give the word of the day to the Toastmaster, and they have to print it and bring it with them. It's
Correct.
not the Toastmaster's role.
Correct.
At least 2 copies, so it can be seen from there and from here.
Right.
Some people put 4 across so that it's visible.
Correct. So if we don't have the grammarian yet, but ideally we would like at least 2 so that no one misses it, especially if it's planned thoroughly like it was today and written onto the agenda. One last brief comment. Can you share with us what you read on the magazine about Toastmasters being the #1 club in the U.S.? Sorry, James. Yeah. 30 seconds.
A couple of days ago in Business Insider, they had an article about the #1 speaking club in the nation, which was Toastmasters in New York. There's a 6-month waiting list to get into the club because they have to rotate members out because they have so much. They gave a breakdown of the entire meeting, how it works, the evaluations, much of what you said in there. They call it the hamburger method, but not the cookie method.
Cookies are better.
But it was a great article. I suggest you can just Google it, Business Insider Toastmasters Club, and you can read it for yourself.
Thank you so much for sharing with that. And then our 2 guests, because I need more than a minute and a half to close up, unfortunately. I have RJ visiting from Club 1066. Tell us what you thought about our meeting.
I've been here before. I always enjoy business, so thank you for having me. It's a wonderful meeting. I recently took over as the club president, so I'm solely focused on the betterment of our club. Coming here today, I'm hearing the 3 speeches, the evaluation, the easy speak, scheduling is so hard anyway. And I'll be honest, I normally see poetry, and I think, oh, I want to hear that. I love it. It was wonderful. Your delivery was fantastic. So I really enjoyed the meeting. It's a great way to start the day, and I'm gonna have a good day. This was the act of kindness to me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Kojo, would you mind giving just a few kind words? This is our guest.
First of all, yes. And my very first impression is that this is a better learning environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ernst had something to say.
Ernst had something to
No, I
say.
just need 10 minutes for my speech. Remember I mentioned that the other way?
We'll make a note of that. Thank you for telling us. Anything else, Alexandra?
Yeah, real quick, I sent an email to the officers, but I just want to everybody know I'm making the new table 10s, and I just need a quick vote. Do you guys want name and last name, or just the name?
Last name.
Last name.
Last name, full name.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you.
Gus?
I think we have 2 people who are already being members, Rich and Jeff. So we need to get them into the skill and their icebreakers.
And yeah, he's ready for.
Rich is ready.
You're ready? All right. Have a great week, everyone.